other thing that I've used with spelling, and maybe this is what you need.
Tell me, I'll do it.
We created a spelling box.
Boom.
Hello.
We're back.
We are back, and today we are talking about everyone's other favorite,
Language arts.
All right, so language arts, that's kind of a group term that...
There's a lot in language arts.
Right, so we've got reading.
Reading, writing, spelling. What else is there?
Maybe just those three. I'm sure there's more.
Maybe just, yeah.
It'll come to me.
Language.
Handwriting. A lot of
Yes.
people put handwriting in with language arts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are some of the things you've used for language arts?
Some of the things that I use are books. Just tons and tons and tons of books. So my boys really honestly learned to read because of Calvin and Hobbes.
I remember that.
Yeah, they just loved Calvin and Hobbes, and we would read them out loud, and they would memorize complete, 2 pages worth of text from Calvin and Hobbes, and it was amazing. So they just kind of picked it up that way. And I did use, I still do, what's it called? Learn to read in 100 easy lessons.
Yeah. Yep.
Learn to read in 100 easy lessons. And that was a good foundation for them as well. But they're boys, so they love...
Sitting for a language arts lesson wasn't super exciting for them?
This is the hardest subject for me. I love English. I love to write. I love to read. My boys don't... Well, they love to read. But getting them to write or learn how to spell has been a challenge. But I found that graphic novels or comic books have worked really well. We have history comic books, comics with content with Chester the Crab, or the Hazardous Tales of Nathaniel Hale. Yeah.
Okay.
And they cover lots and lots of U.S. history. It's really kind of sick. It's I have a comic book about the Donner Party. It's really good. So, and I have books.
I think it's great that your kids know what the Donner Party is.
I know. Well, and I didn't... I was 5th grade when we learned about that.
I mean, maybe not all of the specific details.
So yeah, we have that, and then I have my own collection of books, and then I'll order books, and I won't necessarily tell them that new books are coming, but I'll just place them around the house for them to discover. It's I got a graphic novel of Ember, The City of Ember,
okay,
and The Hobbit, and I just kind of here we always read at the lunch table and breakfast table, and most of the time at the dinner table. And I'll just set it on the kitchen table and they're ooh! And, they'll just get really sucked into it. So we do that. And audiobooks are huge at my house.
So we like audiobooks.
And I don't think there's any problem with audiobooks.
No.
Why do you read to your kids?
Right. I mean, your kids should definitely still know how to read, but
Yes.
Exactly, listening to an audiobook
But you still get the same...
is just the same
you
as
still get the
listening
story.
to you read, yeah.
So yeah, they love listening to stories. My voice cannot keep up with them as far as read alouds go. So we do read aloud with each other, but we also do a lot of audiobooks. We have
Where do you get your audiobooks from?
We just do Audible.
Okay.
So yeah, we do that, and sometimes they get to let mom have an audiobook to herself.
Oh, you lucky.
I got the Pride and Prejudice Audible, and it's if you can listen to it if you want to, but this is my Audible for the month. The Green Ember series on Audible, we love, most of us love. Some of us are getting kind of tired of listening to Heather and Pickett fight evil, but...
My number 2 is reading the series right now. She's on book 2, and she's very excited.
It is a great series.
We get a lot of audiobooks from the library.
Yes, library.
So
as
the
well.
library, I know Overdrive is an app you can put on your computer or your phone, and you can log into your library system using your library card and check out audiobooks. But that's another great resource if you are on a little bit of a budget. Your library oftentimes will have audiobooks that you can check out and just put straight on your phone or your computer.
And your library, you can download on your Kindle, can't you?
Audiobooks? Or
libraries?
Yeah, so since library is all closed right now, we're going into month 3 of this COVID pandemic. We've been using Kindles, and we can get into the library system again through Overdrive. There's a number of programs that use it. That's the one that I use personally. And we go into Overdrive, and you just log into your library system with your library card, and you can find books, and it works just like going to the library. They have so many copies of the digital book, and if all those copies are checked out, then there's none available, and you can click the button to go on a wait list, and then you check it out, and you can check it out for like 7 days or 14 days. It gives you an option. And if you're not done reading it at the end, you can push a button to renew it if nobody's waiting for it. It works really great. I so much more prefer having a book in my hands, but for this time where we can't get to the library, it's a great backup plan.
Yep.
So we can still be reading new things.
Fantastic. We haven't done much spelling. Like I said, spelling's really hard to sell the boys on. My oldest is getting there because he's starting to want to like type out messages to his friends on the computer, and half the time he's like, Alexa, how do you spell? And I'm like, you ready to spell yet? No, not quite. Alexa. It's like he's getting there. But we have done All About Spelling, which is a curriculum that I know several people.
We used All About Spelling.
Yes. Yeah, well, you researched it, and I said, hey, I'm going to do that too. So we've done All About Spelling. There are also games. We have a game called Word on the Street. It's actually pretty fun because you're trying to steal letters and spell as many words as possible. So Word on the Street. And also, I love Julie Bogart. She's the brain behind Bravewriter. She has curriculum. She has books. She's such a great resource, and she's so positive. She's like, no, you can do this. I mean, she's I don't think she has grandkids right now, but all of her kids are grown up and successful and living life, and yeah, I love those people who are like, I'm done homeschooling and my kids are.
Let me impart all my wisdom to you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So
go for it.
So
you actually have like curriculum.
Well,
I have like read a book.
So yes, I do use actual language arts curriculum. The first one that we used when we started out is Institute for Excellence in Writing, which is IEW. They have some really great programs. So they have a spelling program called Phonetic Zoo, and you listen to that teaches you a spelling rule, and then it reads off a list to you. So you put it like on your phone. We had it on our computers, and they write the words on the list until they can get them correct 2 days in a row. So I actually really liked that program, but in that season and the way we tackled it, it wasn't terribly successful for her. And then they also had themed writing books, and that was sort of the same story, but we had one on Narnia. And so you'd read little snippets from Narnia, so they'll take that and they kind of outline. They use keywords to make an outline, and then they rewrite the same story, but using their own outline, and adding in what they call dress-ups, so things like adjectives and adverbs and 5 senses words, words where you can see and touch. And so I actually really liked that curriculum, but again, at that point in our lives, it wasn't very successful for us. And at the same time, my oldest was doing those. My second was coming into kindergarten. And so we did IEW's K through 2nd grade program called IEW PAL. And it was really great because it had all these really fun games. And so we made up all these file folder games, and we kept it in a file box. And once you had that stuff prepared, it was fairly open and go. Anyways, the IEW's PAL program was great. It actually incorporates in All About Spelling. So we did that, and I really liked how they taught it because they were really big on see, say, touch, or I can't remember the words, but they have magnets that you put on a big magnet board so the kids can actually put the magnets in place, and then they write them on a piece of paper, and we would break that up into...
Yeah, it's very kinetic.
Yeah, kinetic. We'd break that up into a series of days. So I really like how it's delivered, and I think for most kids it would actually work incredibly successfully. The language arts that I found when I wasn't even looking for language arts, and actually we still use now, and I love, is the Good and the Beautiful's language arts. They...
it's fun. We've done... the Good and the Beautiful has, it's not just language arts, it has all the subjects.
Yeah.
It has math, science, language arts,
history, typing, handwriting.
Yeah, it has everything. But yeah, we've used science curriculum on that and have enjoyed it.
So for the language arts, this is a level 2. Their levels aren't exactly grade level. They have an assessment on there, so if it's something you want to try out, use their assessment first so your child can be placed in the right level. But it's just I love it. They've redone the levels 1, 2, and 3 since I've used them. So I haven't done them yet, but they have stuff like editing the story. They do a lot of sentence diagramming, which I had never done in my life. And I didn't even know it was a thing.
I hit upon it a little bit in the 7th grade.
Okay.
I think I failed that unit.
Loved it. It's helped me understand words and sentence structure so much better with helping my kids do it. But one of the things I love about their language arts, all their curriculum resources, they're very open and go. So I don't have to prepare anything. We literally open up our stuff, plop it on the table, and we go. And it will tell me what to talk about with my child. It has wording in there. I oftentimes kind of ad-lib it. Like I don't make it up, but I kind of make it my own and make it relevant to my child and add things that would be relevant and pull out others. But we've loved this language arts. My oldest is doing 8th grade level is book study, so she's read this book about Helen Keller. The first book is a biography about Annie Sullivan, who is the woman who came to take care of Helen Keller and taught her. And then the second book, this is a 2-part, is actually Helen Keller's autobiography. And then they have this little book study with it, and so they'll read like a chapter a day, and then they'll have lessons in here that tie in with the book, where they'll have spelling. They have homophones. So this one, it has course, like rough, versus course, like an obstacle course, and they have to write sentences with it. They have vocabulary, editing. So there's just all kinds of great things in there. And one of the things that I love the best about this was actually what made me not afraid to try it, because I hate spending money when I feel like I'm just gonna throw it away.
Yes.
Their levels 1 through 5 are free to download. So if you have a child who you're wondering if this might be the fit for them, and you do the assessment and they place between levels 1 and 5, this is what I did for my oldest and my second one. We assessed them, and then I downloaded the level they were in onto my computer, and I would just read it off of my computer, and if there was a worksheet for it, I would print it off. And we did that for about 2 weeks, so we could kind of get a feel for it and see, is this gonna match? And we knew right away, actually, that it was a winner. So, but it let you try it a little bit. One other thing that I've used with spelling, so spelling oftentimes is like, spelling, and maybe this is what you need.
Tell me, I'll do it.
We created a spelling box, and this is actually an idea that I got from The Good and the Beautiful, and one of their users even dove into it more. But so we have this box, and it has all these fun hands-on ways to do spelling. And so in here, we have this ring, and I've laminated them. I'll tell you, as a homeschool mom, purchase number 1.
Laminators are amazing.
At least we're in the top 3, laminator. But we have all these little cards, and so they'll like open it up to one. So like this one is spelling jump. So they start at one end of the room, and for each spelling word they just spell correctly, take a jump and see if you can make it across the room. Write a poem using all of your spelling words, underline each word. There's lots of really active ones. So one of my kids' favorite ones is they'll blow up a balloon as big as they can, and they try to keep the balloon from touching the ground while they spell their word. So it would be like B-A-L-L. Oh, okay. And their other favorite one is they sit across the room. They like to do this with me. I don't know why I'm special in this. They hate doing it with each other, but me. We'll sit across the room from each other, so we're 10, 12 feet apart, and we'll take a ball like the size they're not really beach balls, but those little balls,
Those little balls you can get at Target and Stater Brothers, yes.
And we'll bounce them back and forth to each other, and every time you throw it, you say a letter. So if we were spelling bounce, it would be like B, and then they'd throw it back O, and then I'd throw it U. And then at the end, whoever has it gets to say the word and bounce it as hard as they can on the floor and see if it can touch the ceiling. Don't do that in a room with any breakables.
Or a ceiling fan that's working.
Or a ceiling fan. Oh, yeah.
So I see you have ink pads in here.
So one of the activities is stamping. We have...
That's fun.
A lot of the stuff we got on Amazon. So we have this set of stamps. So they'll stamp it out. We have a wheel where they can make codes out of their spelling words. And then someone has to... solve it. We got gel pens and a black notebook. Totally feel like I'm back in middle school.
The jelly rolls.
Yes. So they'll write with their jelly rolls on there. And then these were another favorite. These are, you know, those black scratch-off papers?
It's, like the rainbow paper.
Yeah, rainbow papers. So they'll take these and they'll write their spelling words into that, and it will show up. And then we also have in here letter stickers. And so they'll spell...
Oh, there we go.
They will spell their words in letters. And then another favorite one is one of my kids, number 3, likes to do hopscotch. Mm-hmm. So she'll do hopscotch with each of her letters. One of them likes to do jumping jacks. So she'll like jump with each letter, and then at the end of the word, yes, she jumps across the floor. So she combines jumping jacks with trying to get across the floor. Anyways, there's lots of really neat things you can do with spelling. Awesome. It's still spelling, but you can do it in so many different ways than just sitting down at the table and writing A-T-E. There's ways to make it a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more fun.
And they probably remember it better.
They do. There's studies that have shown with some kids moving helps with memory so much.
Yes, I think so.
For me, one of the big goals with homeschooling is to get my children to enjoy learning.
Yes.
Because
it's so much easier.
If they enjoy learning, they will just innately want to do it a little more easily. And even topics they don't love, they can learn to get through those because they want to do the ones that they do love. So we talked a little bit about audiobooks. We use audiobooks as well.
We love audiobooks.
Audiobooks are great. We do a lot of out loud reading too. Ours, I have not been able to master reading at the table because I can't eat and talk at the same time.
Things we don't have much table conversation. I'm a quiet person. I don't have much to say sometimes. So I'm totally fine with them just reading a book and me having a little bit of quiet time.
Okay, so they're reading to themselves. It's not reading out loud.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm eating.
Reading out loud. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to read out loud and eat. And if I let my food sit too long, my toddlers come and they take it. But so we do our reading not at the table, but at night after we do our night routine, they'll lay down in the loft and I'll read to them. And we usually are reading a book that goes along with whatever we're studying in history. And that's our family reading book that we read together. And we've read some really good books that way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fun things you can do with language arts, using curriculum, not using curriculum, but books and reading are just one of the best ways
books.
to grow your vocabulary. The more they read, the more they come to know and recognize spelling patterns, even though they might not understand what they're recognizing. Reading is just great. So don't be afraid to get creative and have fun. All right, we will see you next time.
Yeah, next time.
When we talk about
social
studies.